Hey everybody, and welcome to another Cricut craft tutorial. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays, and with the occasional bonus video. Make sure you hit the bell icon because that will let you know when I post a new video. Today we're going to talk about how to engrave acrylic with your Cricut Maker. Keep in mind this is only for the Maker, and you cannot do this with any of your Explore machines. The Maker has the adaptive tool system and the pressure needed in order to make this work. So what you're going to need is your engraving tool, which this one is the quick swap housing, so you just can pop the end off. If you have the scoring wheel, you have the quick swap housing and you just need the tip, but if not, you would need to purchase both pieces. So you'll need that, and then you'll need some sort of blank to engrave on. So I have two different sizes that I've done. I've done a 5x7, which I cut to make a little tab in so that it would fit in our light, and then I have this much smaller one, which is just a little tiny, like 3x5. It's like the size of a business card. I got them both from Amazon, so you can get a big pack. I believe there's 20 in this pack, and then I want to say there's about 20 in this pack as well. And they're pretty inexpensive, and you can do a lot with them, so it's really nice. This is a much thinner one, which is why I was able to cut it with just scissors. You cannot cut these with your machine, so keep that in mind. You cannot cut acrylic with your machine. Now, you're going to just need those, and you're going to need the little light, which this one is from Amazon. It comes in a 2-pack. You get 2 of the little light bases and 2 remotes, and they're about $15.99, I think, for both, which is a really great price. And then you just need your painter's tape to help hold this down. So let's go over to Design Space so I can show you guys how to do this. The first thing that you need to do once you get into Design Space is to upload your image, and we just searched for Lion King coloring page. So we're going to click on upload, and we'll upload our image. You're going to find your image, and I just used a image of baby Simba. So we're just going to do baby, we'll just search it because it should come up. Baby Simba. And I'm going to choose him as simple. And we're going to go to continue, and then you want to just do like you would if you were uploading any kind of other image, and you're going to erase anything in this case that kind of turned gray. So this part can be a little bit tedious depending on how big of a design you're doing. This one's a little bit more detailed, but that's okay. And I loved this little butterfly. And if you screw up where you accidentally erase something you didn't mean to, just undo it. And then you can go back through here and get rid of the correct parts. So you're just going to go through and, like I said, just get rid of all of the gray. And then we'll have one more little thing that we'll need to do with the magic eraser here. And that's just to get rid of the little words down here at the bottom. So you see this, we need to get rid of that. So you can take this little eraser, and I'm going to keep it small just because this is such a small little piece. And we're just going to get rid of it. So go ahead and hit continue, and you're going to want to save him as a cut image. So you're going to save him right there. Click save. And you're going to insert your image once you've uploaded him. And then you'll need to size him for your sheet. Like, he's way too big right now. And we're working with a acrylic sheet that is about 4 inches by about a little under 5.5. So we're definitely going to need to size him down. So we know that he can only be as wide as 4 inches. So let's just go ahead and change that. And I do that because then it kind of just makes it all, it'll kind of show you if it'll fit or not. Like, he's 4.5, or he's 4 inches and 4 inches. I think that's fine. I might need to size him down just a little bit more, actually. Let's make him just and then I dropped that. Let's make him just a hair smaller. We don't have to go too small. So that's the easy part right there. Simple, simple, simple. But what you want to do is up here with line type, make sure you change it to engrave. And it's going to look a little bit weird on here, but it won't look as weird once you actually engrave it. So click on make it. And what we're going to do is move him to match our acrylic sheet on our mat. So let's go over to our mat so I can show you guys how to do the acrylic sheet on the mat first. The first thing you're going to want to do is to take off your protective cover. I only take it off of one side for now, and what we're going to do is take our acrylic sheet and we're going to line it up on some grid lines. And I never use the top grid lines. It's just personal preference, but I just don't like to use the top grid lines. And so I just make sure that it's lined up between some grid lines. You're going to want to take some painter's tape, and you're going to want to put this on your acrylic so that it doesn't move around when you're cutting. For this one, I'm going to use the top and the bottom because we're going to, our Simba isn't super big, but he's kind of wide. He's wider than he is tall. So we're going to just do that, and you'll just want to make sure that that's pressed down really well. And then let's go back over to Design Space, and I'll show you guys how to line up your Simba. So now that you've put your acrylic down, you know that your grid, that he is lined up with the 1 and the 2. So you'll want to make sure that he's within your 1 and 2 range. And then you just need to figure out about how far down you want him on your design. So we're at about 6 inches for the base, which I think that's probably pretty good where he's at. So you just move him on here, no big deal, totally easy to do, and click continue. It's not going to move your little design once you've moved it on your mat. So you're going to wait for your Design Space to kind of get where it's going here with the materials. And we're going to browse all materials. And we're using an acrylic sheet, so you can just search acrylic, and you just have to type in a first couple things. And with this is a really thin acrylic, so we're going to choose thin and click done. Now I'm going to show you guys how to load your engraver tool, and then we can get engraving. Before we can engrave, we need to load our engraver tool, which we're going to put it into the quick swap housing, which is just this one. And it has a little button here at the top, which is like the release button. It lets go of your head, your cutting head. So this is our cutting head, and you just need to line it up so that it slides right on, and it's simple as that. And then when you put this in, there's a plastic cover over the gold gear. You just make sure that your gold gear is against your gold gear. Close that. And you are ready to go. So what you can do now is take your mat, which I kind of got shoved in here in a corner, and we're going to load our mat. And you're going to just load it just like you would if you were cutting paper or vinyl. No big deal. Super easy. Hit the Cricut go button there once it's loaded, and it's going to bring it in, and it's going to make sure that you have the right tool. And I'll move you guys a little bit so you can see better. It's going to make sure that we have our engraving tool in. And one thing to note, that when you're cutting with your engraving tool, the tool may lift and spin during the engraving process. So don't worry if it does that. That's completely normal. It's done that a couple times to me, and it's totally normal. If your painter's tape is in the way of your engraving, don't worry, it will engrave through your painter's tape, so it's no big deal. We shouldn't have any of that today, just because I did put my painter's tape pretty low and my design isn't very big. But you can absolutely, it will engrave where your painter's tape is. So don't worry if it's not quite lined up great. So we're going to let this engrave. This guy might take a little bit, so I will go ahead and speed it up. Now that it's finished engraving, you just unload it just like you do with any other project, and you just take it off your mat, again, just like you do with any other project. So you're just going to take off your painter's tape, which again, you'll want to do because you want to make sure that it's going to hold your acrylic down, because your acrylic really isn't going to stick to your mat. And the nice thing with this one, because you're going to use the painter's tape, is you can use like a super old cruddy mat, and it doesn't matter because it's already being held down by the painter's tape. So sometimes keeping those cruddy mats around comes in handy, because I don't like to put painter's tape on my brand new mats. I'm just kind of weird. So we're going to go ahead and get this out of the way. And then remember I said I left the other side of the protective sheet on. So you're just going to peel that off, and it should come off pretty easy. I just use the edge of my nail, and I just kind of peel it off. And oops, and then I bumped you. And then you can sort of see it, but we'll put it in the light so that you can see it better. But look at that. Isn't that cute? I think this came out really nice. You might have a few little flecks on it that you'll want to just gently wipe off. You're not going to want to use any kind of harsh abrasive stuff on this, just because you don't want to scratch your acrylic. So let me get him in the LED light so we can show you how he looks. And here is our finished acrylic etcher. No. And here is our finished acrylic etching. Now again, super easy to do. You can be extra super creative with these. And for this little guy, all I did was I cut a big acrylic that was too big to fit in the slot, and I just cut it down a little bit here. I just used some scissors because this is very thin. I will link these acrylic blanks below for you guys, but you can absolutely get thicker ones that fit. You can get really small ones. I have these little ones here, which I've done a few things with. I did a Hello Kitty with one. And you can do a lot with them, but these guys are a little bit small. But there's our Hello Kitty. I don't know how you can see her, but we did a Hello Kitty with this one as well. But this again is a much thicker acrylic. You can see where this one is quite thin. It's very, very thin acrylic versus a thicker acrylic, but you can absolutely do either one, whatever your personal preference. The light is also from Amazon. I will link this below. You get 2 for like 10 bucks. It's a great deal. These are going to make really cool Christmas gifts, especially for kids. These are great night lights, and they do come with a remote, which is awesome. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. I will also link the engraving tool below. You can get that on Amazon now. They're finally available. I hope you guys had a lot of fun learning how to work with your engraving tool today. If you have any questions, again, please let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. And hit that bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. Have a great day and happy crafting!